What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of The Inspired Show with Joe Cohen. I'm super excited today, everyone, because today is the first day where we're going to be opening up to new co-hosts. And every episode going forward is going to have a new co-host, and I'm going to bring you massive amounts of knowledge and great information. Today, I have a very special co-host with me today. Her name is Darlene Crystal. She is known as the Girl Flipper. And we're super excited to have her on because she's been doing some amazing things for the real estate industry and also women empowerment. So today we're going to be talking to Darlene, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Joe. Oh my gosh, this is super special. I mean, building this relationship and being on the journey together, I can't wait to share some amazing, just fun stuff.
I know, I'm super excited.
It's going to be cool.
So we met because we were doing a deal together, right? So you're in the fix and flip business, as well as I also am a real estate professional doing fix and flip and real estate transactions. So give me a little idea of what made you get into real estate investing.
Well, it was pretty fun knowing just how it happened, because you don't know what's about to happen when you're kind of in a place of like the unknown. And just a quick just idea on how it happened was I was in a W-2 corporate job. And they let go of the top 1%. So when they let go of the top 1%, I decided through mutual friends to get into the real estate industry. Well, that was 2008.
Wow.
And 2000. Do we know what happened in 2000?
Big time upheaval.
Well, see, I didn't know what was happening in 2008. So I remember showing up to the real estate office with an airport bag and a power suit on because I came from employment law. And I'm like, hey, I'm ready to show up. And everybody's looking at me like there were 5 people in an office of like 500.
Yeah.
And they're like, I suggest you come back in 5 years. And I was like,
oh, my goodness.
I think I'm just here. Let's do this. And because I dropped into the market in 2008, the one thing that you needed to understand in 2008 was contracts, how to work with people, and really how to get through just a tough time because people were losing houses.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that I was walking into that. Talk about the right person to walk into that.
Right.
Because I came from a place of really understanding that people had needs. And in employment compliance, I was the one who had to tell people that, unfortunately, because of work injuries, they possibly didn't have a job.
Wow.
So I already understood how to work with people. I was very compassionate, and I delved into the short sale REO market.
Great time to do it.
2008, that's where it was. And That's where I can say I really started my journey with understanding investments, understanding homes that needed work, and understanding working with investors like yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know what I was getting into. And that's why I always say, like, you don't know what you don't know, because I kind of just really did an amazing job, worked with homeowners, did my best to get them the most we could, but it was a short sale market. So my buyers tended to be the cash buyers. And they started to kind of navigate me through what I would call the fix.
Got it. Wow, that's an amazing story because in 2008, I was full in real estate at that time. I was working with a loan company, and I had my own mortgage company. So basically, it was like a network branching thing, and we were doing subprime loans. So we were putting the people into those loans that they were going short sale.
And you know what I would always say? Who put you into these loans? And you weren't the only one from what I heard. I mean, it just is what was offered. You had a 2000. When did that market start? The whole mortgage kind of went
2002.
Okay, 2002.
Yeah.
So it went on for a while.
Quite a while. Yeah, and one of the things I always used to say to any one of my clients is that, I really want to make sure that you understand this loan that you're getting into because it's short term. There are prepayment penalties. There are certain things that you have to be aware of. But at the time, the real estate market was going up crazy. It was like 17, 20% increases year over year. So what would happen is that I would do these, I would call them Band-Aid loans.
Yeah.
Because people would come to me, they'd have equity in their homes, and then they would pay off their credit cards. I tried not to get them to pay off their cars, but they would pay off their cars.
Yeah.
And then, I'm telling you, no lie, a year later, they're coming back to me to refinance again. And they didn't care about paying the prepayment penalty, because they saw that, A, it was a tax deduction from a closing cost perspective, and B, they're like, oh, the values of my house are going to keep going up, right? we all had that same interpretation.
Super deceiving. I mean, from what I understand. But again, it's something you can't predict. Whoever thought that that was going to happen?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah.
And when I walked in, I just remember people saying, like, honestly, I was seeing a lot of tough stuff happen at that office. I was seeing people come into the office looking for their agents that had sold them these homes, looking for lenders, it was a big office, a big franchise. So I would see people come in and I'd just feel so bad for them. I was just, I didn't know any of this. And being a homeowner myself, I had 2 homes by that time. And I had always ran my life just so conservatively, right? So when I would see people offer loans, my parents had taught me really traditional ways. Like, you pay off your house, you do this, you don't refinance. So whenever I would get asked to refinance, I'd be like, no, I'm good. But it wasn't anything that I was thinking that what they were doing was different. It was just, that was the way I was just raised.
Yeah.
And yet, I had family members that were doing it because that was the way they kind of operated. So when I saw people coming through, I was just like, how can I help? It ended up getting to the point that I was working on almost like over 100 short sales and bank-owned homes.
Amazing.
And I had such passion for it because I knew that I could really take them through the journey of understanding that there was a way out. Maybe it wasn't at that moment, but just really kind of getting them through and keeping their family intact.
And I'll be honest with you, even the banks, there was short sales way before 2008 and 2007, right? But the banks had forgotten how to do them.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And they didn't have any systems in place. There was not enough staff. So when you went to go talk to the asset manager and the loan manager and you were trying to negotiate terms on the short sales, it took forever.
It was tough. I'd stand by. So do you guys remember the fax machine? I mean, I'm really dating myself, okay? Because the fax machine, there was 1 or 2 fax machines at a central location in our office, and we would park ourselves by there to like fax those 20 pages. And then if there was a jam, it were just...
had to start over?
Yeah. It was like the worst.
What a nightmare.
Or when you would call the asset managers or anybody who was handling your case, right? They'd say, we didn't get page 6, so you need to resend everything. I mean, those days were tough. I just have to say that because of those days and because I was able to work really hand in hand with a lot of these people that were unfortunately going through tough circumstances, I ended up being found. I have to go back a little bit. Through that journey, I ended up being like the top 1% in our industry, getting a lot of accolades because I just produced.
Right.
And I have to say that I really was humble about that because I came from a corporate background. So all I knew was give me the job description and I'll work.
Right.
Like, I didn't know about exposing what I was making, exposing about, like, in the real estate industry, everybody knows what you make.
Yes.
It's like pretty public, right? And I remember getting back from Spain. It was so funny, Joe. I get back from Spain. I had taken a month off after never taking a vacation in 10 years.
Wow.
And I get back.
You are a worker.
Oh, yeah. I was a worker bee. And I went with a friend to Spain, and we ended up staying a month.
Wow.
I come back, and my income is exposed, and they put like top 10 in the real estate office. And I was just like.
Yeah, it was designed to kind of motivate other people to say, hey, she's doing it, you can do it.
Exactly.
Right? That kind of stuff.
That's what it was. That's what it was. So when that happened, I was just like, what the heck? Like, this is real. So all the accolades started to come in and all that started kind of put me at the front of the face of many, right? Like, I was on stage and speaking in front of many people, inspiring them, saying like, and I always say, if I can do it, you can do it. If you can do it, others can do it.
That's right.
It just takes the mindset. And so as I was up there, I was being watched by a company and a hedge fund.
Okay.
So it was a private money company that worked with hedge funds. They spotted me and they asked me to work for them to sell the properties that they were acquiring at the trust.
Oh, wow. That's an amazing opportunity.
And that's, I have to say,
Blew off.
Where the floodgates open.
Yeah.
Because it really changed how I thought. In real estate, I always tell realtors, like, there's so much beyond the transaction.
Yes.
There's so much beyond you just looking at a home or looking at a seller. Like, if you just hang around the right network like you and I and how we've built this friendship, it's like there's so much beyond that.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's just not talked about.
It's not. And I think that the key thing is that your net worth is only as big as your network, right? We hear that all the time.
All the time. It sounds cliche, but it is what it is.
And you told a story about you being in the right room. And so the key factor for anybody in this industry, whatever industry you're in, is to actually put yourself in the right room to be around the right people that are going to help your career excel.
Exactly. And I have to say you're right. And I always say that. There's two things I always say. Your network is your net worth, because it sounds cliche, but it is.
It is.
And the power of just going after anything you want. If not you, then who, right? It's just so powerful. And because they spotted me, so I started working with them and I started managing their projects from Newport Coast down to Malibu. So talk about just a wide variety of architecture, needs, demographics. I mean,
year build.
You've seen it all. Like being where you're at, you see all different year builds. You see, I mean, right? It's so important. When you're flipping houses, you have to know what the demographics in a want.
All the little idiosyncrasies of the properties, and raised foundation versus slab foundation. I had somebody the other day when I was showing a property in Dana Point. They were asking me about the bedrock, and what does that look like when another rain comes through, and they're basing their thought on what the news said, and they're seeing that this big resort basically just fell off the side of the cliff, and all of that kind of things. Whereas I now have to become a geologist.
Because you've got earth.
Right?
And when you've got earth, hillside, bedrock, you've got all of this, and you've got earth contact, right? All of a sudden you're like, what could happen?
What could happen? And then if you speak out of, your knowledge base, you have to go back and back that up.
100%.
Right? So the key thing to those types of situations, there's nothing wrong with saying, that's a great question. Let me get back to you on that.
Let me go to the specialist. Let me go to the specialist. And that's one of those things. So that's how I got into it, was really, they pulled me in without me knowing. And so the power of the room, the power of your network, they brought me in. I loved what I did. I got a chance to really get to know about interiors, about architecture, about just the needs of what buyers want. And again, I have to say, me being a girl, I like attention to detail, design. I usually get slapped on the hand a few times when I spend too much, because what's $300? What's $500? It all adds up.
Yeah,
I am getting better, and one of those things is that's really what's brought me to the point that pre-pandemic, I started to think about what I really wanted in my life. Have you ever had those moments in your life where you just really sit back and you're like, all right, I'm doing this, but I'm missing something. I've been hit hard. What do I do next?
Yeah. And those are those signals that are coming from your spirituality, right? Where we're supposed to be in our lives.
Sure.
Right? And so I experienced the same exact thing. See, because in 2008, I went the opposite direction. I didn't go into real estate. I was getting out of real estate. And so 2008 came along. I was making, high six figures, and then I went from doing that to zero, right? And so we transitioned into loan modifications. Loan modifications dried up really quickly because, as you know, pre-legal, right? You had to have an actual, you had to have an actual attorney review that for you, right?
Well, they started to change a lot of the guidelines within that, yeah.
And so with that, it was like, okay, now that's done. What next, right? And I was just kind of burnt out. I was burnt out by the leaders in the industry. It was a lot of smoke and mirrors. Oh, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Overpromise, underdeliver. So I was just like, it's time for a shift. It's time for a change. And so I literally told my wife, I'm going to go back to bartending, and I'm going to get another license. And she, at the time, she said to me, well, I'm pregnant, so what are you gonna do, right? And then I was like,
baby's on the way.
Yeah. So I was like, I gotta hurry up. I gotta fast track this. So I actually went and worked for State Farm Insurance, and they got me insurance licensed. And then from there, it was just like I just kind of started building this career in insurance, right? Well, fast forward 14 years later, I was kind of missing something in my life. I'd always been doing real estate on the side for my friends because I kept my licenses intact. Any license that I had, NMLS,
Always intact.
always intact,
Got
right?
it. Yeah.
I did the work to take the test. Why not, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I was like, there's just something missing in my life. I was doing really good. I was very successful. Had great mentors I was working with. I just wasn't happy anymore.
You're like just missing.
Something was missing. A piece of the puzzle was missing. I didn't know what it was until a friend of mine, they needed to sell their house, and it just happened to be during the pandemic. And I was like, oh, I remember what this is like. This is fun, right? And then
Got that moment.
I had that little chill, right?
Ed Sheeran, shivers.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? I think I could do this like as a side hustle.
Yeah.
Right. And then I start doing some more deals. And then I'm like, you know what? This is just way too much fun. And so I wanted to know more how people were doing real estate investing. And so I went down the YouTube rabbit hole and started going down that route. And then I came across Tarek El Moussa, and I signed up for a free program, and he was like, knowledge. I'll tell you right now, and I'm doing a plug for Homeschooled by Tarek El Moussa.
I love Tarek.
But they went all knowledge first, sales at the very, very end, which is, you don't get that. I mean, you go to seminars all the time, right? It's little bit of info. Hey, if you buy this package, we'll give you some more information, right?
That's it. Yeah.
So Tarek, good job on that. You guys crushed it. But that really kind of reignited the flame, and it was just full bore from there. I know.
He's been, I mean, gosh, talk about an inspirational story, because you think about, you disconnected for 14 years, and you knew the moment you felt something that you were missing out.
Yep.
Like, you're like, I'm back.
Yes.
And I have to say, something similar happened to me when I was running a brokerage. I went through some tough times because I was working through navigating a lot of movement in a baby brokerage. And I decided, I said, I had met my honey, who we're engaged now. And I started to really look at family from a different perspective. Like, okay, work is work, but if I'm missing out on family and today's the last day of my life, what did I spend it? Who did I spend it with?
That's powerful.
What was I doing? And that was almost 9 years ago.
Amazing.
Where I, like you, had this epiphany of like, I was driving from Downey, heading back home, and I just had this epiphany of like, I'm not doing this. Like, there's more to life. And I always talk about, if you're doing what you love, then that's the best thing ever.
It's not work.
It's not work.
Yeah.
It's not work. And, I hear this a lot, like, you had just that confidence and that courage to say, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it another shot. And going through Tarek, like, it's what happens to us every day. I think we just miss out because we think it's not really possible.
That's it.
You're living proof it is.
Self-doubt creeps in every single time.
Every single time.
I can't be like Tarek El Moussa because he's got all the money in the world, right?
Exactly.
That's the interpretation.
Yet he worked out of a garage. Like,
That's it.
remember his story.
Yeah, he lived with his parents. Sleeping by his dirt bike.
How many businesses are built out of garages? It's crazy.
Yeah. What is it? Crowdfunding, Microsoft. Like, you could basically. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I mean, these stories, when I talk to girl flippers, right? I tell them, when I'm talking to girl flippers, I just tell them, you're never defined by your past. You're totally defined by the decision you make today. And it's the work that you put in or don't show exactly where you're going. However, they lack, again, the confidence. And I feel like if we can empower others with that, with the confidence, that boost, with showing them that we can, so why can't they? I mean, what better way to contribute to people and help them be inspired? And that's why I built Girl Flip, because it was something where I said, no, I think in our industry, it's a rare thing when somebody wants to inspire you.
Yes, it's true.
Right?
Because
it's dog
for the longest time, it's every person for themselves, right? I'm not going to share this deal with you. You're taking it out of my pocket, right?
There is no collaboration.
There's no collaboration. There was no collaboration in those early years. Yeah. It was dog eat dog, right? And so it was a game changer when you come into this industry now and you're seeing that, oh, hey, like Jamil Damji, He's like Mike. He's all squat up, micro flip together. There's plenty of opportunities to go around, right? And that's really, I think, the chemistry to my success was very early on. I was trying to do everything myself. I was spreading myself too thin. And then as soon as I was like, you know what? I need a team. I need people to work with me. So then that way I can actually do what I do best, right? Because I'm a visionary. And
yes, to visionary.
Hey, shout out to visionaries, because
Shout out to visionary.
it is an amazing talent to be able to have foresight, right? But I struggle the most on being an integrator, right? I have the vision, I have the ideas, right? But I can't put it to paper sometimes, so I need to bring people in that can actually offset the things that I'm not good at. And that's the key to success, is because you can't do it by yourself, right? And you shouldn't want to do it by yourself. Bring everybody along with you, because it's lonely at the top.
I have to agree with you, and the magic of doing it together, because again, somebody on the team is going to have what you're missing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I love
Oh, so
basketball.
great sport, isn't it?
Is just, if one of these guys is not doing what they need to do to support the overall team, then they're not going anywhere, right? If one has ego, if the other one's this, and the other one didn't get the ball, and
James Harden.
right. I was going to start to mention names, and I was like, let me hold back. But for myself, that's why I built Girl Flipper. And Girl Flipper happened, by the way, going into pandemic. Yeah. Because guess who called me? HGTV. So HGTV found me on social media during pandemic.
Okay.
And said, hey, we're looking for newbies who want to come in and be on the show with Tarek.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I say, okay, well, how am I going to do this? I had just started building my funds. You guys, you can build your funds. It's just one at a time, right? So I had just started building my funds to be my own investor, so I could start buying my fix and flips. And I couldn't find any property but one that was almost one.
Oh my gosh.
So all of a sudden, I started to look at everything I had and said, all right, I looked at my honey and I said, I'm taking from everywhere we have, and we are going to do this deal because HGTV wants us to be on the show. So we auditioned, we ended up on the show. I ended up getting the funds and putting it all together. Little did I realize how much I really had. So you never know the power of what you really have.
Oh, that's a great statement.
So many people don't even realize what they have until you start really delving in, and the network of people that you have that will support you on accomplishing your dreams. And that's really what it was for me. My family, my friends, everybody came together and united so I could do this project.
Great.
And I was like, I will not let you down. So I go into this 1930 on the coast in San Pedro.
Oh, yeah, that's a difficult one.
Okay, in the middle of pandemic.
Yeah.
So then the
can't even get permits.
Can't even.
Did you get permits?
Eventually,
okay.
Yeah. So the story goes, Flip 101, HGTV, they say, okay, we're going to do this. We show up. My honey and I are on our way. We're driving there. And the producer calls and says, we're not moving forward with the show. The neighbor just started saying a lot of not good things to our production company.
Yeah.
And so our
They were worried
neighbor...
about safety. Yep.
And they said, darling, we're going to have to really take an analysis on this. And here, imagine how I felt. You guys, ups and downs, they happen. And so I had just taken all my investment, everything I ever had. I had just been through a tough time the prior 5 years. I had lived through a bad divorce. I had lived through everything you can think of. And here I am driving to this thing that I'm imagining is going to open up the horizons, right? I'm going to see sunshine after this. And then they say, Darlene, the show's not happening. And I was already financially in this huge project.
Yeah, deal closed.
Deal closed. I'm in it. So
what am I going to do?
What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And so here I was. I went into it. We ended up having a lot of challenges with this house. It was very difficult. We were working with Coastal Commission. Have you ever worked with Coastal Commission?
I haven't.
Okay. They're another, if we think the city's tough,
yes.
Coastal Commission, I would show up to try to talk to somebody and the doors were locked. Like you could not even get in because it was pandemic.
Right.
So nothing was open. So if they didn't answer the phone,
nothing.
You get nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So fast forward, I got through that project. I have to see that during that project, I would say, well, I'm just a girl flipper. Just here trying to flip houses as a girl. What am I going to do? I hope from this experience, I can at least learn. And so what I did is I spent so much time with my contractor, so much time with friends, a mentor. Like we just went through all of this and they taught me so much. So I took that moment and really fed my mind, became so much more knowledgeable in construction. I mean, you and your experience, when you're flipping houses, I'm sure every single one talks differently.
Different, every single one. Yep, absolutely.
And that's what happened there. So,
and it's really hard to find people that truly see the value in what we're doing as real estate rehab and developers.
Yeah, fix and flip.
Right? Because I feel like they think that we're like a dime a dozen and, things of that nature. So, a lot of the coaching says, hey, go to the, Home Depot at 7 a.m. and tell them that you're a real estate investor and that you're going to give them weekly paychecks and all that stuff like that. Yeah. And they're like, look, dude, I've been hearing that story forever. Yeah. Right. And I need to put food on my kids' tables and all of this stuff like that. So, they're coming in high, they're coming in at, 30% markup, and especially depending on the area. Right. But, I think that's one of the key factors to the success of this business is partnering with the right people, making sure you're digging deep on interviewing those people who are on your team. So then that way you could be successful, right?
Yes. And the teams that we have are so important. So fast forward on that project, I did get Coastal Commission to sign off on our project. That ended up being the most profit I had ever made. Wow. Almost, I think about $250,000.
Wow. And congratulations.
That officially made me a true investor. So I took everything I had. Remember, I had put everything I had into this project. Now I got this amazing return on a home that nobody else wanted to touch during pandemic. I have to say it was a lot of sweat and tears, a lot of nights of lost sleep.
Yes.
Made it to the finish line. And that is what built Girl Flipper.
That's amazing.
That is where it all started.
That's
so
fantastic.
Pandemic is really where it all started.
We're both pandemic real estate investors.
Pandemic success.
Yeah.
And you know what? So much success and so many people really changed their lives through pandemic.
Yeah.
They got a chance to change careers. They got a chance to really delve into really working from home and finding ways to create side hustles for their family.
And different ways to connect.
Yes.
Right.
And different ways to connect and understand how to really connect online too, like you're saying.
Yeah.
It changed the game for everybody. And it's been such a joy. I mean, look at what we're doing here now. And it was based on us not giving up.
Exactly. That's the key. And true to that as well, your testament of, I didn't know what I was doing going into it. You were just kind of like going based off of faith that that you have the determination to get it to the finish line.
Yes.
But what I also heard too is you pulled a lot of your resources together personally, but you also had some family members that came in and helped you pull some resources together. So subconsciously, you were using OPM, other people's money.
Other people's money. Hey, I was raising capital.
You were raising capital, exactly.
Yes.
And so that's what we always say, and Tarek has taught us a lot about. If you find a good deal, the money will follow. So you can actually bring in other people, other investors to come in on your deals, and their money is secured by the real estate. Their money is also protected by the insurance policy, and then therefore they're a part of that transaction. They're almost part owners in it. A 0.25% or 10% or whatever money that they're putting in. They're now a part of that in a joint venture of that particular deal, and then you bring them back their money with extra return, right?
And
what an amazing concept.
And you know what? I have to say that with investors being out there wanting to get into our world, once they see our work product, it's even more exciting because they see the work that we do, the passion we have for what we do, and then they're ready to earn more with us, right? So it's exciting bringing... Exactly. And I'm at that place right now, as we were just talking about how it's important to raise capital. And I'm at that place right now where I'm like, okay, let's do this. Let's bring on investors. Let's work with people. The collaboration where everybody wins.
Yes.
And that is what I love about just the new generation. It's either you're on this side, everybody wins, or you're not. And I hang out with the everybody wins crowd.
Yes.
Because it's just a beautiful place to be. So as we're building with other realtors, people that are not in the profession, we're building with people that just have a dream of wanting to get into our world. I always say it's so possible. Just have to have a collaboration mindset. You have to be willing to share. You have to be willing to create win-win scenarios. And that's the beauty of what we do.
Yep.
When we close on a deal, you and I, how many people must win from that?
So many people, because you got escrow, title, you got the person that you bought the home for that was in a distressed situation. They're doing what they needed to do to accomplish their goals. You got appraisers, inspectors, you have all of these different trades that benefit from that.
And your finder. So when I work with agents, I always tell them, like, you bring me a transaction, it's very possible you will be getting 5 transactions from that one.
Exactly.
And they don't understand, like, it's easy to not understand because their day-to-day is so different. But when they work with people like you and I, they could find us the property, list the property, find a buyer for that property, find another seller who wants to sell in that area for that.
Use that property as social media marketing.
Property for social media marketing. And our properties are gorgeous.
Yes.
So working with agents now, which a lot of them have been, on my journey because I came from a real estate background. Now they get to work with me as Girl Flipper. They get to help me find these properties. I get to help them build more transactions through one of the homes that we create together. Yep. And in a tough industry like it is now, they get to really think different. And that's the power of what I want to do, is I want to get people to think different.
Yeah.
To understand that the only way you're going to grow is if you allow yourself to think different.
Yes.
And it wouldn't have happened if you and I didn't think different.
I had to think very
You'd still
different.
Be an insurance agent.
That's right. Because we're all tuned to growing up into that. Got to go to school. Got to get a job, and work at the job until I'm 65, and then I enjoy my life. Right?
No. Hey, guys, there's more to life. There's more to life than, just doing the same thing every day. It's just you have to really believe in yourself.
Yeah.
For sure. And believing in yourself is the game changer.
That's it.
And
believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself.
Have a mindset of abundance.
Mindset of abundance.
Right? Because having a mindset of abundance helps you be more expansive. That win-win mentality, everybody wins, right? And then you bring everybody up and bring everybody along, right? And that's the key thing for me as a leader, because I want to be able to say, hey, yes, I do this, and obviously I'm in it to make money, but I'm also in it to help you succeed as well, right? I want everybody to succeed, because if everybody's succeeding, then I succeed, right? Yes. It goes back tenfold, right?
Tenfold, and we're living proof. And the power, I always say, of getting back up. You're all going through something. Everybody's always going through something. It's just the power of coming back. It's there. Believe in yourself. Joe and I believed in ourselves.
That's right.
And you never know what's on the other side. Walk in a room with a smile, stand tall, even though it's hard, because there's going to be naysayers. There's going to be people that are going to not wish the best for you.
Exactly.
And it is where we're at in the world. You just have to stay in your lane and stay around people that are positive and that are good vibes. And I always talk about it because it changed my life by changing my environment, by picking my friends wisely, by keeping my network small, yet being open to collaboration. And I'm seeing like what you and I are doing here. I mean, it's all collaboration. It's building together. There is no, it's only mine or it's only yours. Yep. This right here is a beautiful thing. And that's how you will grow in life, is like allowing collaboration.
Yep. Bring people along. That's it.
Bring them along.
So what's next for Girl Flipper? I mean, we're doing a bunch of networking meetings. I think we're at the second half of the year already. So what's next for Girl Flipper?
So Girl Flipper is expanding. We're raising capital.
Okay. We
are building a Girl Flipper team. Anybody who wants to get into flipping houses, we're empowering them to do that. They can DM the word grow, and we're going to get you in our world. And we're getting into bigger projects. We're getting into development. We're getting into Los Angeles. We're getting into really over $1.5 million. We're working on a project, 4,000 square feet right now. That one's going to be $4 million. Wow. So we're hoping that one just takes us really to another level of design and flipping, but we are in growth mode. And it's thanks to people like you, friends like you, that are really just empowering us as girls to go for it and think bigger. So we're on our way.
So where can people find you?
People can find me at Instagram at girlflipper.llc and direct to my phone number. My phone number hasn't changed in 20 years. And
Not either.
Right. 909-772-5759. Call me, text me. I'm about helping others grow. And let's do this together. I mean, I'm excited.
Fantastic. Great stuff.
What's next for you?
What's next for me is we're just going to continue to grow. I recently just merged my real estate team with another successful top 1% real estate team known as Rock Real Estate Partners.
Nice.
Because they're going to help us scale our team to 100 transactions a year. And then in addition to that, I'm actually in the process of developing a real estate fund. So that way we can move quicker and make better decisions. I got to tell you that the margins have gotten thinner over the last year and a half. Inventory is still low, so therefore the market is still kind of hot in our area, especially. And so we're finding that we got to figure out a way to cut our costs, so then that way we can be more competitive on our offers, so we can lock up more deals.
That's game changer right there.
Yeah.
That's game changer. So you're thinking outside the box.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're thinking, sorry guys. Yeah. So you're thinking outside the box. You're thinking what's next? How can I raise capital? So that way the profit, even though it's a little bit, the margins are thinner, then you can have a little bit more to bring to the team.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
Dude, that's game changer right there for sure.
I think in this industry, it's all about pivoting. You have to, it's what's new, what's next, right? But it's still the same concept.
Yep.
Right? So we're working on a ton of things, but it's all in the mindset of collaboration and abundance. We want to bring people along. That's why building a fund is important to me, because rather than just narrowing it down to one person per transaction, we're going to now be able to bring in multiple people for all of our transactions.
And think about how many people are going to win in that.
Exactly.
Again, that's what we're talking about. And at Girl Flipper, we're all about that game changer mentality.
Love it.
And you just have to be ready. You have to put your 2 feet in and you have to go for it.
Amazing. Well, thank you for coming on today.
So fun. I'm so glad we did this.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yes.
Yes.
I love it.
And congratulations on everything you're doing. It was exciting to be here on your show. And I can't wait to see where the journey takes us.
It's going to be an amazing
We're bringing people with us. So make sure that you follow both of us.
Please follow us on all of the social media platforms. We're on YouTube. We're on Instagram, TikTok, all of the different platforms. Thank you for joining us today, and have a blessed day, everyone.
Bye, guys.